Hey, it's Maximo, and welcome to Maximo's Travels. Today, I'm in Nikon's Museum in the heart of Tokyo, Japan. Join me as I review all there is to see at the Nikon Museum. The Nikon Museum is located in Tokyo's Shinagawa district, which is quite near Tokyo Bay and Tokyo's River District. It was about a half an hour train ride and a little bit of walking to get to from our hotel in Ginza. This area is surrounded by a number of different rivers, and walking through the back streets is certainly very interesting. Now, I've come to the museum because I am basically a Nikon fanboy. I've had Nikon cameras for over 25 years, and I thought if I'm in Tokyo one day, I do want to see the museum. The museum is located in Shinagawa East 1 Tower, which is a complex of tall skyscrapers, being primarily office buildings, and it's quite an industrial sort of office area, not where one would expect to see a museum. This is the entrance to the East Tower from the main JR Shinagawa railway station. If you're coming from the river, it looks quite different and quite industrial. That's the view of the East 1 Tower from the river side of the building. The entrance to the museum is on the first floor, just off the main office building main lobby. Just look out for the signs. It's a bit tricky to get to, but you can ask for directions if you get lost. And there is the entrance to the museum there. I got my first Nikon camera being the F60 in the year 2000, and that was followed by the D60 when I started with digital photography. Entry to the museum is free, and it's a must-see for any Nikon fanboy. It covers a great deal of history of all the different cameras and most of the lenses that Nikon's ever produced. Most of the exhibits are behind glass, especially some of the rarer and quite expensive ones, but there are a number of cameras out on display that you can actually pick up, have a look at. They're all working, so it was really great to see all the different cameras and lenses that Nikon's produced over the last 70 or 80 years of their existence. There are over 500 cameras on display and hundreds of lenses. And do note, the museum will be closed from March 2024 while Nikon relocates its corporate headquarters. There were so many lenses on display going back through all the different decades, and it was quite fascinating to see really rare and exclusive telephoto and extreme wide angle lenses that one wouldn't normally see, and certainly by the size of some of those telephoto lenses, it'd be very difficult to be lugging around taking photographs with, that's for sure. I did take a bit of video, but many photographs in what was quite difficult and challenging lighting conditions. These photos were all taken with my new Nikon Z8 and a 24 to 120 millimeter f4S lens. I was particularly intrigued by some of the really rare lenses and also some of the camera prototypes. It was quite interesting to see that back in the early days of photography, that Canon and Nikon collaborated in teaming up their cameras and lenses and worked together to improve film cameras back in the day. This is quite a surprise to me because I think these days there is quite a competitive tension between Nikon and Canon, both in the fan base and also perhaps in the corporate side of things as well. But certainly the prototypes were a big feature of this museum. The museum also had a very extensive collection of industrial, biomedical camera and imaging equipment. And if you're into that sort of thing, you could probably spend a fair bit of time looking at this section. It was interesting, but my particular favourites were the cameras and the lenses. And the museum even had its own little gift shop. I didn't buy anything because everything was quite expensive. About 20 Australian dollars for a coffee cup, I think, is quite expensive. And they weren't really that nice, to come to think of it. One of the best displays was a cut-down version of a digital SLR camera showing all the mechanics inside and the lenses. Also particularly interesting was all the different prototypes of different cameras and lenses that were considered but never actually made it onto the production line. The museum wasn't huge, but I spent about an hour or so here looking at all the different cameras and lenses and taking heaps of photographs. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll be posting quite a few videos from Tokyo and Japan in coming weeks. Until next time, bye now.